Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another comic book issue review. Today we're going to be looking at Transformers number 13, the start of the third arc of the series, and the beginning of a new artist on this. So, Dana Warren Johnson is still the writer, and I think he will continue to write for at least 11 more issues. He said he had 24 in the tank. It's been a year now, so he has done 12. And we have our third artist here. I wonder if we're going to come back to Dana Warren Johnson for the fourth arc. I'm not really sure. I think at this point it'd be a bit too jarring to go back to him, but it would be nice to finish off the series with his artwork, right? So we'll see what happens there. So we have Jason Howard here stepping in after Jorge Corona replaced Dana Warren Johnson as the artist, and we have Mike Spicer still doing all of the extra work necessary to bring the comic to fruition, right? So overall, really good stuff here. I do have to say that Jason Howard's artwork is probably the most generic out of the three artists so far. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't mean that to be disrespectful. What I mean is that Dana Warren Johnson has very highly stylized artwork. Jorge Corona has very stylized artwork, but it's a lot more normal looking compared to Dana Warren Johnson's. And Jason Howard's, his artwork is the most normal looking artwork in terms of like comic book art compared to the other two, right? And I think it almost feels like this transition from a very stylized to a lot less stylized artist in order to have this kind of cohesive style going forward, right? I don't know if Jason Howard's gonna stay. I assume that he'll be switched out for Arc 4, and then he'll be switched out again for Arc 5, and then they'll pick a certain artist to continue on the run. But, I could be wrong there, but it does feel like there is this kind of gradual decrease in stylization going forward in order to have a more cohesive kind of line across the Energon universe, right? So, I could be wrong there, but that's kind of how it feels like. So, also, this cover, awesome. This is Dana Warren Johnson's artwork here, minimal trade dressing, and it looks wonderful. Just so good. Look at it. Very great. And this is basically a mini arc of sorts. This is the secret origin story for Starscream, right? So it opens with Soundwave gutting Starscream and throwing him off the side of a cliff. When Starscream is there laying on the floor, he flashes back to his origins, and we get to see him hanging out with some friends called Genvo and Jetfire. Jetfire, of course, is a character we know, and Ulchar is his actual name. That's what his real, Cybertronian name is. But Jetfire is soon to leave on a journey, which I think is directly referencing what we get to see him doing in the Void Rivals. I think that's what series he appears in. I'm pretty sure. And before he does this journey, Genvo, who is Ulchar's best friend, joins the war on the side of Megatron, right? On the side of the Decepticons, and Ulchar decides to be neutral. So they go off to see some celestial event happening where this massive transformer flies over the sky, and in a kind of similar way to how people ask trucks to honk, right? They do the same thing. They draw attention from the transformer to them, and then this giant transformer that flies across the sky waves at them, right? And as they do this, they end up incurring the wrath of this other guy because they fucked up one of his machines in order to get its attention, in order to get this giant transformer's attention, right? And I thought that was awesome. I love this idea that even on Cybertron, there are celestial events. And because it's Cybertron, those celestial events include giant transformers flying across the sky. And I think that's awesome. I really, really like it, right? So this is the last moment in which these young men get to have together before they go off to live their lives, right? So Jetfire leaves on his mission, and some time passes. It's kind of unclear how much time passes, but it doesn't really matter. The point is, it's much later, or at least it feels much later, and we get to see that the battle is happening in the middle of the city. Ulchar gets shot. Genvo shows up to try to help him, but is gunned down by the dirty Optimus Prime, right? Then he shows up looking very ferocious and scary. I mean, from the perspective of Starscream, right? I still think he looks heroic, but that's because I know these characters, right? But the point is that it's showing us that Starscream has this huge negative, fearful association with Optimus Prime because of the situation that they find themselves in. But technically, Optimus Prime has no blame in this, well, he has blame in the sense that he killed someone, but he doesn't have blame in the sense that it's a time of war, and so death will happen, right? And so it's kind of a weird nebulous gray area, but because of the reality that Starscream is living, he sees Optimus as the enemy, as the bad guy, and I think that's really, really awesome. I love this nebulous gray area of morality and the way that it humanizes Starscream a lot, right? We can understand that he's now on a journey of revenge or a journey of hatred that maybe isn't the best thing, but is deeply understandable to us as humans, right? So I really appreciate that. We come back to Earth in the present, where some G.I. Joes kind of fall onto the Earth and steal away the broken body of Starscream. They take it for themselves, and then we flash back to the past again, where we get to see that Ochar gets up. He gets up. He moves his friend from the scene of the crime, basically, and he is sad and alone. And this is the right moment for Megatron to step in, recruit him into his fight, and ask Ochar for his name. And Ochar says that his name is Starscream because of the anger and hatred and sadness that he feels at the death of his friend Genvo, right? And I thought this was an awesome issue. I really, really loved it, though I really think I would have loved to see it even more if Dana Warren Johnson was drawing this. And I think this is the first time I thought this because I really love Jorge Corona's artwork. I'm not very familiar with Jason Howard, and I don't necessarily dislike his art style. I think it's very clean and very well done. But this run of Transformers, for me, is characterized by its wonky, very stylized artwork, and this isn't hitting as much as I think it should have hit, right? So that's a bit disappointing, but I still think this is a nearly perfect issue. I think it's really phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun reading this, and I really, really loved the way in which Starscream's story unfolds, right? So there you go. Those are my thoughts on Transformers number 13. What did you guys think about it? Tell me down below in the comments, and I really appreciate you guys watching. So see you guys later.